Mass confusion. So that's what we're here to answer. My name's Jeff.
My name's Mike.
We're here to answer some questions from our customer audience. Probably the most common question I get is, what's the best heating system for my house, or HVAC system? And it's a loaded question. One of the things that is probably the most frustrating about the HVAC business is there are no single answers to any question. You can skin a cat as many different ways as you like with heating and cooling. So it's also one of the things that makes this more interesting than a lot of fields too. It's because there's different things that we can choose for different people, and depending on what their needs are. So, Mike, what do you think is?
Well, I think that the first thing people need to look at is, do they want air conditioning? Do they want cooling? Because if you don't want cooling, then there are certain heating systems that would be more economical and easier to put in that wouldn't require that and give you comfort.
Absolutely.
If you do, then you need to look at what is your budget.
Right. So those are great places to start from. What is your budget? Because that can definitely impact what's going on. You can spend as much money as you like on a heating system, obviously. But the other question, some people just don't care about cooling at all, right? They
Right.
like it hot, they whatever, and that's fine. And so there are great options. We can look at things like baseboard heat. It's pretty economical. Other things like radiant floors. Those are all different choices that you can even make in that space too.
Yes.
And then when we go over you say, okay, I do want cooling. We do have choices there too, and that all will depend on what are you building new? Are you retrofitting into an old home?
Do you have a basement? Do you
Right.
not have a basement?
Do you have an attic?
Do you not have an attic? Are you on a slab?
Right. So all great questions, and these all impact how your comfort technician is going to set up a system for you. So one of the things that I also like to go into a customer.
Oh, and what fuels do you have available?
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah, because if you're in the city like here in Portsmouth, you probably have natural gas available to you. And right now, that's the other thing about fuels is what's cheap today may not be cheap 10 years from now.
Right.
So, and we make long-term investments with our heating systems, right? You're probably not going to change out, a heating system certainly not in 10 years, hopefully.
If you've lived in New England a long time, there are many houses with boilers that make on forced hot water systems that are at least 40 years old
or older.
and older.
Yep. Yeah, we've worked on them and replaced them. So yeah, that's a great point about fuel. What do you have for fuel available? And because they come at different prices, right? We've got oil available to us here in New England. We've got propane, we've got natural gas, and of course we've got electricity. Those are our primary heat sources.
Right.
On the secondary market, I like to call it, is the wood pellets and things like that. And those are options for if those have meaningful benefits to you. Some people feel like they want to be more green, so they want to burn wood. And there's pros and cons to that on both sides of that argument too. But that's another topic.
Right.
So what I was about to get into is I like to ask customers if they have issues with older heating systems, because we've steered a lot of conversations where customers come and ask us, well, I don't like it because it's noisy, or I don't like drafty. A lot of different concerns that they've had, a lot of times because they had pretty miserable old heating systems, right? They weren't installed well, and knowing those things ahead of time helps us help you select something.
And they weren't balanced well if it was an air system.
That's right.
Or they were trying to do multiple floors off of one thermostat.
That's right. Or maybe they retrofitted air conditioning into an old heat-only system and it didn't have enough ductwork to handle it. So now your ductwork whistles to
and enough motor on the
right
on the furnace's blower.
That's right. So yeah, it's important to ask those questions about what your history is and how did you feel about what you came from. And we can certainly design you something that solves all of those issues. And I've helped clients with that in the past. We've had clients come to us with sort of a predisposition towards something because they had heard from somebody else that it would solve their problem, when in reality it's probably worse off than what they were trying to
Yes.
to deal with. And if we had just done the other thing correctly, it would actually have performed better for them. So I think what we're going to talk about in future episodes is we're going to sit down and go through a lot of these different types of heating systems. Just in the room behind us, we've got a couple of different machines. Most of this is what we call hydronics, meaning we're pushing water around. That's where the hydro comes from. But we're going to talk about heat pumps, both air source, geothermal. We'll probably talk about furnaces and air and ductwork and all those different types of air side systems as well. So this is meant to get us as a starting point.
And different types of radiant floors,
Oh, sure. Yep.
ceilings
Yep.
can be radiant.
Radiant heated and radiant cooled.
Yes.
So we've done both of those in the past. And of course, radiant cooling comes with all sorts of other challenges dealing with moisture.
Except in Arizona.
Well, perhaps. It rains there too occasionally. So what we'll do is we'll do a deep dive, and we're actually looking for questions from the audience. If you want to send them in, we'll put a link in the show notes. You can send us questions if you have a topic that you want to hear more about. We're happy to discuss it and go into more detail. So look for future episodes on each of those details. And for now, from the API studio here, again, I'm Jeff, and
I'm Mike.
we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Thank you.